What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another opposition preview, and our usual Crystal Palace fan D from Back of the Nest YouTube channel. Great Crystal Palace content. D, how you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm excited to be here with you guys. It's always entertainment. I love talking about Tottenham and seeing how you guys are going on.
Yeah, I mean, we've got a lot to get through. Obviously, both of our clubs going through new management this season. Us with Nuno, you guys with Patrick Vieira. I mean, started off with 2 losses, then got a really good draw against West Ham, playing really well. But like from an insider's point of view, how has Patrick Vieira taken to the job?
You know what? It was a draw against Brentford, so we haven't actually lost. We've lost 1 game in the Premier League.
That's right. They drew 0-0 against Brentford.
Yeah, drew 0-0 against Brentford, and then afterwards we lost against Watford though. So it might be that you got. We lost against Watford
in the cup.
Yeah, in the cup. But you know what? Even though we haven't won a game so far, you guys saw it. Like I've got a smile on my face just talking about football, because I can see us actually having a vision now to go on to do something. I know Patrick Vieira isn't a player that you guys are, love talking about against times at Arsenal and stuff. But as a manager, I've liked what I've seen so far from him. It's only been 3 games, and you can't get carried away. It's going to be a long season as well. But it's just something different. Under Roy Hodgson, it was just week in, week out. It was just the same thing, and it wasn't working. And we kept trying the same players, the same system. Under Vieira, even in these 3 games, he tried to tweak it up a bit, even have a bit of game management. So as a whole, as Palace fans, with the summer that we had, with the transfers, with a new younger manager in, a different style of play, we're happy. We want to see how this rolls out. I think he can be a successful manager in the Premier League. But of course, it will take a bit of time, and you have to be patient because, as we know, we ain't on the same level as you guys or Chelsea, where you have top-class players. We're Crystal Palace. We're trying to build something, so you can't implement it straight away. So overall, I'm excited by it. You can see it in my face. You can see it in my tone as well. I think he can be a very decent manager. And from what I've seen so far, it's all good. We're trying every game that goes on with improves, and that's what you want to see.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely look more happy and more smiley than when we last spoke to you when Roy Hodgson was your manager. That's for sure.
Have Roy Hodgson as a manager for 3 months, and you see how much your life turns upside down. Well, look, Roy Hodgson, I want to have respect for the guy. He's done lots with his football career, and he's been manager for over like 30, 40 years. I think 30 years. But after 4 years of Roy Hodgson, trust me, you just can't handle it. Like, I just couldn't handle it. I think that's the most we've been as a fan base coming together. Like we all pretty much, apart from like 1 or 2%, wanted Roy out. Because it was just so annoying to see the same things week in, week out. I'm happy, man. I am happy that we're finally talking about different managers, different style of play, different players as well. And, there's something to look forward to.
Yeah, he probably had Benteke over corners, probably Roy Hodgson, knowing his time with England. I remember that. But look, manager, you've got Patrick Vieira in, but you very nearly had our manager. We could have had a very different summers if at the beginning of the summer, Nuno very, very close to joining Crystal Palace. I kind of fell through right at the last hurdle, pretty much. But is that something that that you regret? Maybe you were hoping Nuno could have got through the door, or are you thinking now you got Vieira and that's a positive move?
I wouldn't say regret, because there were other managers that we could have got as well. Probably better than Nuno on paper, like in terms of what we were trying to do and what we were trying to build. But with Nuno, it seemed like he wanted a lot of backroom staff, and Palace were just not willing to pay that much money for backroom staff. And I guess it's working for you guys so far. So whatever the backroom staff are doing is a great job, and it's probably worth the money. I know it's only been 3 games, but so far, getting all 3 wins in the Premier League has been great for you guys. But yeah, we didn't want that. But I wouldn't say regret. Nuno has done a decent job at Wolves. I guess we'll talk about how he's been with you guys in terms of style of play. But his style of play wasn't always that attractive to me, in all fairness. He done a decent job. But Patrick Vieira is a bit different to what Nuno wants to do. And I'm happy with Vieira. It's something different. We always see it. Like I said, at Palace, we've gone through the Sam Allardyce, Tony Pulis, Alan Pardew. We've gone through all of them, like all of the managers that will keep you up. And now Patrick Vieira, it might be a failure. Who knows? But I'm optimistic about him, and it's just something different than Nuno. So I wouldn't really mind Vieira over Nuno at this point of time. I'm not saying that Nuno's a bad manager, but you know, we wanted to see a change, and we've already seen Nuno in the Premier League. Let's see what Patrick Vieira can do.
Are you kind of worried that if Vieira does do well at Crystal Palace, you know, with the way things are going at Arsenal, are you worried that potentially he could go back to Arsenal, go down the road, seeing as he is quite...
I don't think he wants to play for a championship. I think he'll stay at Palace, but jokes aside, there's always that worry because there's a chance that when we do face Arsenal, I think it's a Monday Night Football, and it's Arteta versus Patrick Vieira. There's a chance that Arteta might get the sack, even if he hasn't got the sack beforehand, at that game against Palace. So there is that slight worry, but I don't know if... part of me says Patrick Vieira, of course, Arsenal are a bigger club, and he would want to go to Arsenal because he's their legend. But part of me says that maybe he enjoyed... We backed him this summer. We spent around £60 million on just players. We got a couple players on loan, Conor Gallagher. We got Edward from Celtic. We got Joachim Andersen from Lyon. He was on loan at Fulham last season. We got some quality young players. So a part of me says maybe he wants to stay here because we've talked it out. We've backed him. But a part of me says maybe if the opportunity arises, he might go Arsenal. But as of right now, I'm not worried about anything like that. To be fair, there's been, I don't know about you guys, if you've seen it, there's already been news articles suggesting that we've got Vieira's replacement. It's like people don't want him to succeed at Palace for some odd reason. We've only played 3 games. And that newspaper that I don't want to mention had to apologize because I think they realized afterwards how ridiculous it was. They were talking about replacements after 2 games, and we've only lost 1 game against the champions of Europe. So Vieira, slightly worried, but not that much. I think we backed him enough, and we've got a plan with him. So hopefully he sticks by us. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, to be fair, in Palace's history, De Boer went after not many games, so maybe not that ridiculous in the past.
De Boer and Patrick Vieira is 2 different things. The only similarities between both of them is that they're both foreign managers. Frank De Boer at Palace, he tried to implement a system with no real backing and with players that can't play in that system. Patrick Vieira, because as I said, we spent 60 to 70 million pounds basically on just players this summer. So he has got the backing, and also Frank De Boer, where has he been successful? He's been a successful
in Ajax,
player, but he went to Holland, he went to Atalanta, Inter Milan. He was a shambles as well. So Patrick Vieira, he's still done a decent job at New York City. I know he's in America, but he improved year on. At Nice, when he took over Favre, the old Dortmund manager, he done better than him. So there's something to do with Patrick Vieira that's more, what's the word for it? That's a bit more ambitious. I'm a bit more ambitious with Patrick Vieira than I would be with Frank De Boer. Frank De Boer, he was just too rushed. He didn't get on with players as well. That's another thing. Players were upset with Frank De Boer. Under Patrick Vieira, you look at the videos, they're loving it. I mean, I would love it as well if you had Roy Hodgson for 4 years and then you see a legend like that, Patrick Vieira, come in. I know I don't want to say a legend on your channel, but he is a legend, you have to admit that.
No,
but
fair
yeah,
enough.
so
No, but
it's different.
You're talking about your summer, spend 60 million. There's been a lot of talk around Palace's summer in terms of you had a lot of players up for contract, a lot of players left for free. Patrick Van Aanholt, Gary Cahill, Scott Dan, these kind of players are on the door. A lot of upheaval. We spent quite a bit of money, as you say. Are you happy with basically the business that's been done, the players that got out, the players that come in? Do you feel like your squad's in a good place?
Yeah, I think it's in a good place. I think what many people were saying, neutrals were saying, is that they got rid of all these players and they signed all these youngsters. The problem that we had last season was that we had too many experienced players, and it caused injuries. It caused players just towards the end of the season just not being able to run. Simple as that. Right now, I feel like we've got the perfect balance. The players that you mentioned, I think the players that we got rid of, the average age was about 29. The players that we brought in, the average age is 23. But we still got experienced players. We still got the likes of James Hopkins and Wilfried Zaha. He's an experienced player as well. We got Benteke as well. So what happened was we got rid of all the experienced players and we tried to put a bit more balance into the squad because we realized that it's not sustainable just having all these, 29, 30-year-olds who have no sell-on value. So I feel like I'm happy with where we're going right now with the direction that we got. We still got a bit more business that we need to do. The rebuild is not over, and I understand that because we spent loads of money and we still need to shuffle a couple more players, but I feel like we got a perfect balance between experience and younger players, which we didn't have last season.
Yeah, and like kind of moving on to the game this weekend, Tottenham Palace at Selhurst Park is usually a very kind of close game, cagey game, not many goals in it, but usually you're kind of set up under Roy Hodgson. I'm not going to remind you too much about it, but are you expecting the game to go in a very similar way? Is it still going to be a very tight affair, very pragmatic affair this weekend?
It's an interesting question because I don't think Patrick Vieira. I don't think he will do what Roy Hodgson done against you guys in terms of just sit back and then get you on the counter. I think Patrick Vieira will try to pressure you guys a bit more. That's how we play now at Palace. He doesn't like the concept of sitting back. He tried against Chelsea and it was just a complete mess. So I doubt he tries it again. I think it'll be like a 4-3-3 system, and it'll just be. I think you guys will be not in for a shock, but it'll be different. It'll be a different Palace that you've seen from what you've seen the last 3 to 4 years. And you guys have always got results against us. If you realize, even last season, I think you destroyed us at your ground. Yeah. So you guys have always been the the better team, and we've struggled to get results against you guys, even that odd result that you normally see in the Premier League. So we've struggled to get that against you guys. But I think it'll be a bit different. Patrick Vieira will be demanding the players to go press you guys. It'll be a bit more attacking. They'll see more versatility in midfield with the players that we've got, such as Conor Gallagher. So I think it'll be more closer than what we've seen. The game will be much tighter than what we've seen in the last maybe 2 to 3 years, with you guys just absolutely dominating us.
Yeah, and in terms of positionally, I know Wilfried Zaha spent a lot of time up front last season after, predominantly used to play on the left wing. I don't know what kind of formation you guys play nowadays. Is it back to like a 4-4-2, or are you playing like a 4-3-3? Well, where is Zaha going to be situated? Is it up front again or back on the wing?
So it's a 4-3-3, but we changed it. So that's what I mean with Patrick Vieira. He changed it depending on the opponent. It's not always going to be like a 4-3-3, just like Roy was with 4-4-2. So I think he might. It depends on what you guys play. If you play 3 at the back, then you might see us play 3 at the back. But Zaha, he plays out wide now. That's pretty much his role. But maybe if you play 3 at the back, he might play up front. He might play closer to Benteke if he's starting, or Edward, depending on who starts there. But his position has changed from Vieira. Vieira wants to use him as a wide player, where he's best beating on players and taking on players and running through them rather than up front. So I think if it's a 4-3-3, he'll be out wide. But if he changes it, depending on how you guys approach the game, then you might see him up front. So he's a bit versatile in that aspect. But his primary position at Palace so far this season has been out wide.
In terms of Zaha, you're probably one of the only fan bases who probably knows what it's like what we've had this summer with Harry Kane. Well, you probably have every summer with Wilfried Zaha. People trying to sell your players, a player kind of wanting to leave, but on a long contract or on big money, and with the selling club with no incentive to sell. It's always in a difficult situation. So I guess it's very similar to what we've had with Harry Kane over the summer. But how do you
deal with it?
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's it like every summer that happening with Wilfried Zaha? And do you expect him now, he's now getting on, he's 29 now, isn't he? Getting on 30. Do you think Zaha has missed his big move, that opportunity?
Who would have thought the day where Tottenham are getting tips from Crystal Palace? But with Wilf, it's been going on for ages, and it's actually impacted how his perception at Palace by certain Palace fans. Certain Palace fans now, you'll see as well on social media, when Wilf has a bad game, straight away he's not passionate anymore. He wants to move away from the club. His head's not in the game. So ever since, I think it was about 2 summers ago, when he said publicly that he wants out and he wanted to move to even Everton at that point, it hasn't really been the same with the fan base and Wilf. And I wonder if that's going to happen with you guys and Harry Kane. Whether everyone is going to be supporting him 100% like they were previously. So that's one thing to watch out for, which does get frustrating at times, because you're like, he shows passion. It's like, what are you talking about? It just he basically becomes a scapegoat when you have a bad game. In terms of has the ship sailed, I think it has, and we're lucky in a way, because if the pandemic didn't happen and I think he wouldn't be a Crystal Palace player. I think he would have gone in the summer. But because of what happened in the pandemic, and saying that this club still spent loads of money, I don't think people value Wilf as much as we do. We valued him around 60 to 70 million pounds, which I think was fair a couple of years ago. But even now, as a Palace fan, I don't think he is worth that much because he's turning, what, 28, 29 soon. And also, you know, he's at the peak of his career. And what side does it go into? What top 6 side does it actually fit into and start week in, week out? So I feel like the ship has sailed. We'll see what happens in January and next summer. But I'll be honest with you. I love Wilf to bits. I would keep him at Palace side as long as we can. But I'll say this. 2 to 3 years ago, I wasn't feeling like this, but I wouldn't mind it if we moved on. Because now we got a project and we're bringing on lots of younger players. I wouldn't mind it for his sake and for our sake. I think it would benefit both parties. For example, him moving on to a Europa League side, a Champions League side, and seeing that side of the game, which he hasn't seen at Palace, and us getting that money back to reinvest it back into the squad and trying to continue this rebuild. If you asked me 2 to 3 years ago, I would have said, no way. I'm saying, give us 70 million right now and I'll give you Will. But now, if you offer me like 50 to 60 million, I'll be like, you know, 50 to 40 million, I'll be like, you know, maybe we should think about it. Whereas previously, I would have said no chance because we've actually trying to do something and he's not getting any younger as well. And his value is going to decrease as the years go by. And
you got Eze coming through as well, who's...
Oh, yeah, he's a big injury, hasn't he?
I know he's injured, but he's a great player, isn't he? It's such a shame he's got that injury, but...
top player.
Yeah, real good player. But what's your prediction then for the game on the weekend? How do you think it's going to
go? Prediction for the game... let's be positive. I've been positive all show long. Let's say 2-1 Palace. I just want to say
I could feel that was coming because I can feel like you've got a bit of confidence about you. Is it fair to say like the Palace fan base are like all of that same ilk, like got that positive feeling, that confident feeling about them?
But you know why I'm saying that? I'm not saying that because it's just you got Nuno. It's just like it's nothing to do with that. It's the fact that what's happened during the week. You've got, I know it's not all your first team players, but you've got quite a few injuries. And Son, he loves the performance against everyone. But when it comes to Palace, he absolutely destroys us a bit. So him being out potentially, you guys know better than I do. I don't know if he's completely out of the game, but if those
he's a doubt.
Yeah, he's a doubt. So if he doesn't play in the Palace game, then that would be a massive boost. That gives us a chance. And there's a couple other players that that went away. With Argentina and Brazil, all them things, and then you got Oliver Skip. I think he injured himself. So considering all them injuries during the international break, it gives me a bit more confidence. Normally, as I said, you guys absolutely destroy us, but hopefully we see something different. Saying that, you'll probably beat us 3-0, and I'll be like, what on earth was I thinking?
The thing is with Heung-min Son and his injury, I think that maybe if we didn't have Chelsea in the next game, then he would have potentially been playing this game. But because we've got such a big game, we've got 2 back-to-back games after you lot with Chelsea and Arsenal. So I think potentially we might just sit him out as a precaution in this one. I really believe that.
Sit Hurricane out as well. I don't mind everyone out. I'll be happy with that.
Do you think Vieira's under pressure in this game to get his first win, or not yet?
No, not at all. The reason why I'm saying that is because in the West Ham game, the first half was just atrocious, and then everyone's hyping up West Ham this season. They're saying, "Oh, they're this great side under David Moyes." And second half, we could have, first of all, we done a nice comeback, and we could have won that game. As I've been saying, there's been improvements as the games go on, and it's in a short span of time, and we see massive improvements. So I don't think there's any pressure. Our fixture list has been horrible. We had Chelsea, we have you guys. Next up, we have Liverpool. Then we have Brighton. So it's not easy games, but we're still seeing improvement. So I don't think anyone really expects anything against Tottenham anyways. Forget about Vieira and Nuno and whatever. You guys always normally beat us and destroy us. So in this game, as long as we don't get absolutely battered like 4 to 5-0, I think people just say it's part of the process and we just move on to the next game.
Yeah, and talking about part of the process, don't worry about that first win because you got Arsenal coming up round the corner anyway.
Oh,
so.
Yeah,
that's an easy 3 points for you lot.
Yeah, that's an easy 3 points for everyone. If I was a Norwich fan this weekend, I'm buzzing. You know what? I'm actually annoyed. I would have loved Arsenal right now. Like right now. Hopefully he doesn't get the sack after the Norwich game. That's what I'm slightly worried about. But Arsenal, that would be amazing, man. I'll take that one right now today.
But look, D, absolute pleasure to have you on back again on the channel. Looking forward to the game this weekend. Hopefully we can do some sort of post-match thing. I know we're both going to the game, so we'll have to find the right time. But look, thank you everyone. Thank you for coming on, and thank you everyone for watching. Any closing words from you, my friend?
Look, thanks for having me on, guys, and all the best for the game. And hopefully, if you want to rest players, trust me, you can do that against us. You got massive games coming up against Chelsea and Arsenal. Well, thank you once again for having me on.
No problem at all. Thank you for coming on, and check us out on the match preview on Back of the Nest channel, as we'll be jumping on there right now. So thank you everyone for watching. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always, come on, you Spurs.